All right, so there are not a whole lot of things that are new that you have to do with the Google Drive for level 2. And let me tell you, you use your Drive so much that the things that I'm going to walk you through right now, you have probably all already done. But let's just open a Google Drive and we're going to go to New and we're going to create a new folder. And we're just going to call it Cohort Lessons. And think about this as a way to create folders for your own lessons and keeping things organized in your Drive. So if I open that now, I want to create a doc and I want it to be in that folder. So if I want it to be in that folder, I can open that folder, and this is called Cookie Crumbs. So I've got my Cookie Crumbs opened up to my folder. So instead of just creating a doc openly in my Drive and having to move it, if I'm in the folder that I want to have the lesson or the doc or the slide in, I just make sure I'm opened to that folder. So I'm in my Cohort Lessons folder and I'm going to create a new doc and it's going to go straight in there. All right, so I would always want to name my doc. So I'm going to call it New Things. All right, and then I would type 2 things that I've learned in the cohort. So 2 things I've learned. All right, and I could type that. And when I'm finished and close it, notice now in my cohort lessons, there is my new doc. All right, so I'm now going to go to my Drive and I'm going to find another lesson. I'm going to copy it to there. So I'm just going to come down here, and I apologize for all the stuff I have in my Drive. I really need to clean it out, but let's just pretend that, let's say, the Adobe Spark cheat sheet. So if this is one that I wanted, this is one that someone else created. So I'm going to want to make a copy of that and put it into my cohort lesson. So I'm going to right click on that. And there's so many things you can do with the right click, but I'm going to make a copy. All right. It's creating it. You can see down here. And now I'm going to go back and find it. There's my copy right there. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rename that because I don't want it to just say that. So I'm going to rename it. So I right click again. And I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call it Adobe Spark Cheat Sheet, and I'm going to call it Cohort so I can find it and know it's part of my cohort. Okay. So I've renamed it, and there it is. But now I want it in that folder. So I could click and drag it up there, but it might take me a while because I've got so much stuff. So I can also right click and move to. So this is a nice way to move something. All right, so I'm moving it from my Drive, and it's going to open up all of my folders here in a minute. And if I wanted to go to that cohort one, I can click on cohort. And if I had other folders, I could keep digging in until I got it to where I wanted. And then I just click move here. All right. And then another thing you can do is find that folder you created. And you can change the color of it like I have for my BMS one. So if you right click on it, another right click, you can change the color. So therefore it will stand out a little bit more. All right. And you can share. So right now, any of these that have the little face on them, are shared with other people. So I can right click on that and share it. And I could change the link. So it was, open to anything I put in there, like I showed on Google Sites. But if I just want to share it with a particular person, I could type in their name and I could make that person an editor or a viewer. So if I, for example, had a bunch of lessons and I wanted to share those lessons with a cohort, but I don't want them using and changing my lessons. I don't care if they use them, but I don't want them changing it. I wouldn't want to make them an editor, because if I made them an editor, they may change a document that I'm ready to use. But if I gave them viewing rights, then they have a right to view everything I have in that folder. They can do a right click and make a copy like we just demonstrated. And once they've made a copy, then they have their own lesson that they could tweak and use for themselves. So if you're going to use this as a place to store lessons and share lessons with cohorts, you'd probably want to make the folder viewer only, so that they have to force their own copies and make their own changes. And then I would just click send, and then my folder would have the little head on it, and the person I shared it with would have viewing rights to access anything I put in that folder. Again, if you're collaborating with someone and you want them to edit, you would have to give them the editing rights. I hope that helps.